Salutations and welcome back to Let's Play Tales of Phantasia. This is Edgar. In the previous installment we put some booming claffs bling bling, and we were also given an elemental orb by the spirit claff contracted with. We are going to head south to Beladen, and then into the forest to commune with the spirit in the Tree of Life. You might remember the Tree of Life. We fought that elusive bloody boar right near it 100 years in the future when Chester and Clus were out on a hunting expedition. If you can recall that far back, you might remember that 100 years from now, the tree was dead. The tree is alive in this time period, so with any luck the spirit will be able to tell us what the hell happens between now and then to erase magic from the world. Remember that you will have to head through the town of Beladen to reach the forest, as the forest is otherwise surrounded by impassable mountain ranges. Once you reach Beladen, stock up on food if you want, because the Long Valley and its gas sections likely drained your food sack completely. It's not mandatory, however. You won't actually require food for quite some time. Head into the forest. Other than the Tree of Life being alive in this time period, the only differences in the forest between now and the future are a couple of treasure chests. The enemies are exactly as they were at the start of the game, and at this point it's almost impossible to get a game over from the poor buggers. Since they also reward you with fuck all in the way of experience and gold, I'd suggest you either use a holy bottle to cut the encounter rate down to size, or failing that, just run from the battles to save yourself a little bit of time. Whichever takes your fancy. Alternatively, if you have time to burn, and a desire to master some of Clus's skills, you can just fight the crap around here until Clus runs out of mana, and then head into Beladen to sleep in Leniosa's house free of charge. As already mentioned, I am not going to do the grinding method for Clus's skills. We will master them when we damn well master them. By the way, for anybody wondering, Clus and Mint are the only characters who gain skills based on their current level. Mint will gain one every 3 levels, and Clus is largely the same, except that a couple of his most powerful skills will not be found until you reach a certain part of the plot. Claff is different in that levels are irrelevant. You need to get rings and contract with spirits to get new shit for him. Chester, despite not being with us anymore, has no skills in the SNES version to speak of, and the remaining party member that we are yet to meet will not receive skills from levels, but instead from spell books and the like. But enough about mechanics. Clus be tripping balls again, dog. Anyway, let's see what the dying tree spirit has to say. Clearly the tree needs to get with the times. 2012 was so last year and shit. So here's the case. The tree is dead 100 years from now because something, or someone, is consuming magic at an exponential rate, and the tree pretty much withers and dies from the strain. Since the tree serves as the fount of magic for the world, once it's dead, magic is extinguished forever. Hasta la vista. Magic is what's required in order to stand against chaos, so if magic vanishes then chaos will be even more unstoppable than usual. Needless to say, that's a rather shitty scenario, and one that the party wants to avoid. And as for who or what is consuming such a terrible amount of mana, who else would it be but the obligatory evil government? After all, this is an RPG we are playing. Well no, that's not fair. The government isn't purposefully being evil, it's more a case of flat ignorance. And off goes the spirit Demitel. We will not see her again for a very long time. Would you believe me if I told you Mint is going to attempt to heal the shit out of the tree? It didn't work. Can't really consider that a big surprise, but you do have to give Mint props for trying. and commence claff banging on forever about Luna, the moon spirit, who we will end up contracting with eventually. It is not made clear why Claff believes this particular spirit can help. I like to think he's just infatuated. Naturally, as a spirit, we will require a ring to contract with Luna, the ring in question having a moonstone, because how the hell else will we evolve Luna into a clefable and use metronome and shit? Enough lollygagging though. Claff mentions that the moonstone ring can be found in the depths of the Moria Gallery, an ancient dwarven city that extends deep under the ground. We will be making 2 trips to the Moria Gallery, once for plot purposes, and again far later in the game, because the second half of it serves as the game's bonus dungeon. However, there are a few barriers preventing us from doing what we need to do in there. First off, you cannot enter the Moria Gallery without permission from Alvanista's royal family, and secondly, 4 spirits are going to be needed in order to complete the plot section of the dungeon, and of those 4, we have only a single one, specifically the sylphs, so our journey into the cavernous depths of the Moria Gallery is still a ways off. In fact, forget about getting permission from Alvanista's royal family to enter the Moria Gallery. How about we actually find where the hell Alvanista is first? In fact, forget about finding Alvanista. The plot is going to get sidetracked once we arrive to the town of Harmel. For those of you who draw a blank when I say Harmel, it was the village a stone's throw north of the Long Valley, where we purchased a rope and a pickaxe. That is our next destination, so head in that general direction. After we reach Harmel and some plot happens, we are going to continue north to Venezia, and head to our next location from there. The boats in Venezia's harbour are not merely for show, they are going to be your primary method of moving between islands and shit for the bulk of the game. Do bear in mind that using the boats is not free. Ever the capitalists, the captains of the fair maidens will charge you for passage, food, and even insurance, so make sure you have some gold to work with, boys and girls. If you need any items, pop into SCP-173 town to stock up, or do it in Venezia. You won't be able to buy any items from Harmel, and you're about to discover why. Spoiler alert, Harmel has received the Totus treatment. It looks fine, until you head on in. I am beginning to think that Klus is a bit of a disaster magnet. So far, 2 towns he has been in have been reduced to rubble. Well, at least we can rule Manus out of the list of potential suspects. Anyway, do not fret, there was nothing of note in this town that you could have missed. There's also a distinct lack of corpses. Not a single person around. Except for this one girl. The girl wastes no time in telling us of the culprit. This is the work of some bastard named Demitel. We are going to pay him a visit, and that is why I said the plot is going to be sidetracked. By the way, this girl has pink hair. Is this Bart's daughter Archie? Claff will kick up a bit of a stink about the plot derailing, because he's a greedy prick and wants more boom boom in his bling bling, but Klus and Mint set him straight. Insert flashback here. Claff is just salty that he's outnumbered and shit. Not Archie then, I suppose. The girl claims to be named Leah Scarlet, and will join your party as a non-playable character, only showing up for plot purposes. She will not be visible during battle, and cannot save you from a game over should your characters perish in a fight. Once Leah is with your party, your next destination should be the fair port city of Venezia, as Demitel resides on his own little island, and in order to get there, you are going to hire a ship for a private charter. So then, the fair port city of Venezia awaits. When you arrive in Venezia, there are a couple of things you are going to want to do, as once all is said and done on Demitel's island, the game will transport you elsewhere, and getting back to Venezia can be a bit of a bitch. Smell those ocean fumes. Or rather, just pretend, because this is just a video game. Anyway, once you arrive in Venezia, head to the gondola. If you have forgotten where it is, you can find it in the northeast section of the metropolis. The gondola pilot is still sitting here on his bum, smoking from his pipe as usual. You want to hitch a ride to the armor store first. Buy any armor if you feel like it, but the main reason we are going there is not for armor, it's so we can purchase a combined art cutlass. As with the weapon shop, you will need to ride the gondola again to leave. Anyway, head inside and go up the staircase. In the next room you will find a green-haired woman pacing back and forth. This woman will sell you the Tempest combined art for a measly 3,000 gold. Considering how expensive some of the damn combined arts can be to purchase, this one is exceptionally cheap, so there's no reason not to grab it. The Tempest skill is a combination of Lightning Bolt and Blade Storm, and is therefore quite a ways away from our use. Of course, it just gives us another goal, I say. Goodness me, have I really only used Blade Storm twice? I'd better fix that on Demitel's island, or I'll never be able to use the combined art I just paid good money for. Now, the armor vendor. You can buy a few upgraded items here, such as splint mail, an armor helm, iron gloves, and a night shield for Klesk, as well as a mitre for Mint. Clark was equipped with a mitre when we recruited him, so no need to get too. There is going to be a difficult fight on Demitel's island, so if you can afford to upgrade your gear I would advise doing so. As per usual, I will vendor my junk off screen. That's it for the armor store, head back to the gondola. This time you need to head to City Hall. You must go to City Hall to learn the whereabouts of Demitel's island, otherwise the captain of the boat will just tell you to piss off and stop wasting his time. Luckily, one of the NPCs in the City Hall will spill the beans. When you enter City Hall, you will see a plethora of NPC characters, but only one of them is mandatory to converse with. Now, we know where he is. The rest of the NPC characters can be ignored, but it is worth your time to travel upstairs and talk to the old man. The old man upstairs is actually Linus's brother, and talking to him will earn you a nice prize a little later. Talk to him now. I have already done so off screen so as to skip a fuckload of unnecessary text. At any rate, once you have visited the armor store for the combined art and possibly some upgraded gear, and once you have learned of Demitel's location on the West Island, there is nothing left for you to do in Venezia except head to the harbor. The harbor has two entrances, each one leading to a different boat. The other entrance is at the south end of town, but for passage to Demitel's island you will need to use the north one. Here is the boat that will grant us passage. We will now parley with the captain of this fine vessel. Remember that you must visit City Hall and learn of West Island before you talk to the captain, otherwise you will not know your destination and will be told to fuck off. That's 1,600 gold because Leah is still with us, and the captain will charge for her as well. We have now arrived at Demitel's island. Observant viewers would have no doubt noticed the small island with the cave that our seafaring route zipped right past. That island houses one of the spirits, but it will be a while before we can hire a boat to take us there. Anyway, the first thing we are going to do now that we are at Demitel's island is take a nap. I am not kidding, you can sleep on the ship free of charge since you have hired it, and our characters could really use the rest. After all, there is a very tough fight coming up soon enough. Alright boys and girls, we have recovered our missing HP and TP. You can save your game in the cabin if you wish, but there is another easily accessible save point on Demitel's island proper, and there are exactly 0 monsters between us and it, so it's much of a muchness. What we will do however is talk to the merchant and stock up on orange gummies, if this bloody sailor will step aside. The merchant aboard the ship has all the standard items for sale, and also happens to sell food should you so desire it. All we want though is a bunch of orange gummies. That's nice for you, mate. Now then, with our health and mana restored and a small army of orange gummies at our back, it is time for us to disembark from this vessel. If for some reason you want to return back to the mainland, you can talk to the captain to secure passage for free. But do bear in mind it will cost you the standard fare to sail back to Demitel's island. Now then, as is par for the course with shipping docks in this game, 2 items are up for grabs here. You can grab a mixed gummy from the center pier, and from the rightmost one you can pick up an item the likes of which we have not yet encountered. This is a question mark book. Any item with the question mark as a prefix is an unidentified item. The only items that can be unidentified are pieces of gear, and this one as a book is quite obviously a weapon for cloth. To identify such an item, you must use a rune bottle on it, as Deckard Cain is sadly not around for the job. It's a goddamn porno magazine. Awesome, I will never get rid of it. The thing about question mark items is sometimes they are very powerful pieces of gear and sometimes they are gag items like this one. The porno magazine is indeed equipable on cloth, but it's not as powerful as the book he already has equipped. No matter, I will keep the porno magazine around for the rest of the game, although I do find it rather amusing that the party was unable to identify pornography at a glance. Now then, it is time for us to enter Demitel's little mansion. Head up the grassy hills to reach the entrance, grabbing a spy lens tucked away on the left side of the screen as you proceed. Is anybody else noticing a recurring theme of pointless fuckery from the villains in this game? Demitel's mansion is unlocked, so head right on in. You don't need to prepare for battle just yet, the mansion has no hostile encounters whatsoever. Gazing around the main room you will notice some rather odd looking prisms. I am sure you can already guess what the gimmick here is going to be. At any rate, head down the left exit. If you enter the closest door, you can find the save point I mentioned. Also, take note of the sunlight shining through the window. Heading south from here will lead you to another 2 doors. The one on the right is Demitel's library, and this should be your first destination in the mansion. There are actually 2 somethings here we can use. First off, there is a chest tucked away at the back of the room with a savory. Right next to said chest is a closet, and inspecting this closet will net you the magic key. The magic key will be required to make any sort of progress on the other end of the mansion. As for the last remaining door, it's just a bathroom, and it's locked, so don't fuck about and waste any time with it. Return to the room with the prisms at this point. Isn't that strange? Where's the damn sunlight? Either some really bizarre wizardry goes on here, or something is blocking it from that window. We will find out which soon enough. For now, holy chests, Batman. The 2 remaining chests have apple gummies, but I have no space for them. Head to the north door and use your magic key to open the fucker up. Well then, now we know what was stopping the sunlight from entering the main room. This huge tree is in the way, and this tree is the mini-boss of the mansion. In fact, it's 2 trees, and they can be a huge pain in the bum if you don't change your party's formation. I would suggest placing plus all the way at the front, and your 2 spellcasters all the way at the back, so that one particular attack will not keep Mint and Claff from spitting their shit. This is Claff's first summon. His first summon sylphs will not do a particularly large amount of damage, functioning mostly as the training summon for him. However, the damage of his summons will ramp up extremely quickly, as you will no doubt learn for yourself. Claff will cast a summon every chance he gets if you set into the call many spirits tactic, which is the one you are going to want him on 100% of the time. Anyway, these 2 oak roots warrant an explanation. They have that very annoying attack called Shake, which drops a whole fuck ton of exploding acorns or nuts or whatever the fuck those things are supposed to be in the immediate area around them. If your party is all boxed up, either the acorns will hit your spellcasters stopping them from casting, or it will push Kliss into them, which can also stop their spell casting. And that's why I suggested you move your spellcasters all the way over there. You'd be surprised how fast these trees can murder you if you do not prepare accordingly. You also do not need to worry about Mint being out of range to heal Kliss. She can heal anybody from anywhere on the screen. Anyway, your main goal should be to push the trees to the corner and stab them to death with your Blade Storm skill. For winning this fight you might receive a Japanese apple. It's another food item, but it can be sold for a fair chunk of change, and I would suggest you do exactly that. More importantly, the tree is no longer blocking the sunlight from the main room, so it is time for us to return to the prisms. May as well take an apple gummy on the way. Okay, 2 questions. Question 1, why are we suddenly in a different type of forest? And question 2, what the hell does Demitel have harpies in his backyard for? Haha, we got our apple gummy back. Oh well, thank you for your generous contribution, you feathered ladies. Head back to the prisms. Now that the obstruction has been removed, you are going to fuck about with the prisms. Your objective here is to cause the light to refract to the 2 globes in this room. It's not a particularly complicated puzzle. Once you succeed, a new passage will open up. This will lead to the cellar, which looks not unlike the mausoleum 100 years in the future. There will be plenty of skeleton-type enemies roaming about with about the stupidest and uncreative name you could think of, and Demitel himself lurks somewhere down here. I mean, come on, look at the name of this mob. It's called Bone, for God's sakes. Here's a quick rule of thumb for you. If the bones are kicking your ass, you're going to have to level up here, or you're going to be cock-blocked rather hard by the incoming boss encounter. A few scattered bits of treasure are available down here, including a few in the boss's chamber itself. Annoyingly, in order to get the treasure from the boss's chamber, you are going to have to come all the way back to Demitel's island a second time, because once you defeat the boss, the plot will transport you to another location, and when you step into the boss's chamber the plot starts automatically, so you never get the chance to pick them up. Kind of a shitty thing the developers did here, especially since the treasure in the boss's chamber is really rather good. Whatever. I can complain about it until the cows come home, but it still qualifies as a first world problem. Anyway, be reminded that the boss encounter is a difficult one, so I would suggest you recover your health and mana before you step into his room. You'll know you're at the entrance to his room by a save point on the ground. I want you all to think back to the previous episode. Do you remember when I was fucking about in Long Valley and was hunting a specific enemy to show off and fight? Do you remember the Hell Lord? Do you remember how badly he kicked the crap out of me? Well, the boss is a Hell Lord with a couple of extra mobs thrown in for good measure. He has the same Summon Lich and Hell Gem abilities, but fortunately he doesn't quite have the stupid high defense of the Hell Lord. That said, his defense is nothing to scoff at. So really, heal the fuck up before you step into his chamber, and don't say I didn't warn you. Alright, that should be plenty of health and mana to work with. And now, the plot may commence. Clearly, one of them is lying to us. I don't know if the effect is showing up in the recording, but way back when we first met Melis, there was a ghoulish reflection in the mirror. Demitel has the same shit, and is thus being controlled by chaos. Now that he's been busted, it's time to fight. Defend yourself. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Despite being a total dick, it turns out that Demitel was actually telling us the truth with regards to our pink-haired friend here. She is in fact not Leah Scarlet. Leah Scarlet is dead, and has been possessing this body with the purpose of seeing her family avenged. It's nice to see that at least one character so far has managed to pull that shit off, because nobody in our party has managed it. The spirit of Leah Scarlet will be departing at this point. So then, that begs the question. If this pink-haired lass is not Leah Scarlet, just who the heck is she? Whoever she is, she's still alive and kicking, and regains her consciousness with a minor bout of confusion. Anyway, as you might have guessed, this is in fact Bart's daughter Archie. Now that we have found Archie, the plot will automatically take us to the Long Valley to reunite Bart with his daughter. Real smooth there, Chris. Our party will step outside to discuss their next course of action. If you recall, Clark was banging on about the moon spirit Luna at the start of the episode, and we still need the ring from the Moria Gallery to contract with her. We will need to visit Calvanista for permission to enter, and that will be our next destination. But first, we now have a new party member to greet. Archie will join our merry little band at this point, and as a half-elf, Archie is perfectly capable of using magic. She will be the group's sorceress, and will receive plenty of powerful spells as the game progresses. She will also give us a pair of rings for Clark at this point. S-L-U-T, find out what it means to me. And by the way, Archie rides a broomstick around. During battle she can be found hovering above the rest of your party members, and her ability to pilot a broomstick will become a relevant plot point on more than one occasion. I am going to wrap this video up, but first let's head into the status screen. The game refers to Archie as a witch, just in case the broomstick wasn't a clue, and the numbers on her stat screen represent all the men she's slept with. Anyway, Archie is an awesome character and you will learn to love her. We will kick the next episode off by getting a bunch of spells for her, but for now, this has been Edgar. Thank you all for your patronage.